has been made at the Vatican.
Habemus Papam.
As the 267th Pope becomes the first to hail from America.
After a dry and mostly sunny Thursday, rain returns to end the week.
And if being from the U.S. wasn't exciting enough,
just jumped up, started screaming with everyone else.
We're digging into the pontiff's ties to New Orleans.
What's in a name? From Robert Prevost to Pope Leo XIV. How does the head of the Catholic Church decide on a new moniker? This is WWL Louisiana News at 10.
From Chicago, Illinois, all the way to the Vatican. It's a historic day. After just 4 rounds of voting, the conclave of cardinals elected the first pope from the United States. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Devin.
And I'm Charisse Gibson. So tonight we will learn more about Robert Prevost, who will now take the name Pope Leo XIV.
He was born in Chicago in 1955, but also has roots right here in New Orleans, which we will detail more in a moment. It took less than 24 hours before we saw the white smoke billowing from the Sistine Chapel, which confirmed at least 89 of the 133 cardinals in the conclave had voted for the 69-year-old missionary.
Bradley Blackburn has been at the Vatican since before the conclave began and was there to witness this historic moment. Bradley?
Charisse, the joy here at the Vatican was universal. 100,000 people packed into St. Peter's Square and around it as together we watched a 69-year-old American become the leader of a church with 2,000 years of history. This conclave was decided in just 2 days when the world got the news with that puff of white smoke.
About an hour after white smoke rose from the Sistine Chapel, the world met Pope Leo XIV for the first time. In that instant, Cardinal Robert Prevost became the first pontiff from the U.S. in the Catholic Church's close to 2,000-year history.
I hope he's able to pull the whole world together.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
The first words Pope Leo spoke to the jubilant crowd at St. Peter's Square were, "Peace be with all you."
And when I look at his face, I really have a good feeling. Even the first time I saw his face.
Leo is seen as a progressive on many social issues. Overall, he is viewed as a centrist. Like Pope Francis, Pope Leo has spent time embracing marginalized groups like the poor. He has dual citizenship between the U.S. and Peru, where he served for years.
He brings really a universality to his life experience, to his ministry, which I think will be keen to helping him reach out to all people.
The 69-year-old Pope was born in Chicago. He went to Villanova in Pennsylvania, an Augustinian Catholic university where he studied math.
Everyone's just kind of greeting each other, smiling, so we're very happy.
In 2023, Pope Francis elevated his future successor to cardinal. Now he is the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Roman Catholics.
And here in Rome, the new Pope is also known as the Latin Yankee. He is an American, but undoubtedly a man of the world. And now, Charisse, the whole globe is watching where he will lead this church.
Bradley, I saw so much jubilation out there when it was announced. What has been the mood there about him being American?
It's something that very few were expecting, Charisse. It's long been thought that the cardinals would be reluctant or hesitant to elect an American because it would mean that a pope comes from the world's superpower. But obviously, they have made that choice now. But one thing that is interesting is that this is an American who has a long history of living overseas. He spent decades in Peru and more recently was living here at the Vatican, or living here in Rome and working at the Vatican. So all of that makes him a global pope with ties to America, but there's certainly an enormous sense of pride for American Catholics. It is hard to overstate the importance of this moment for American Catholics to see one of their own become pope.
Yeah, it was hard to miss it when we saw everyone out there cheering him on. Bradley, thank you so much.
And we are feeling pride right here after discovering the pontiff has ties to the city. Mayor LaToya Cantrell issued a statement saying, quote, "New Orleans is a melting pot of different religions and beliefs. We are thrilled to welcome Pope Leo XIV, who embodies morality, unity, and inclusivity." Tomorrow, you can celebrate the new Pope at St. Louis Cathedral.
Archbishop Amen will lead a Mass of Thanksgiving starting at noon. Meanwhile, Lily Cummings is digging deeper into the Holy Father's connection to the Crescent City.
In my office here in the Research Center, I had to keep from screaming out loud.
Jerry Honoré began digging as soon as Cardinal Robert Prevost was elected as Pope.
With a name like Prevost, I honestly thought that there would be maybe a French-Canadian or maybe even Acadian ancestry, but I had no clue that it would be a very recent New Orleans connection.
Honore's research shows Pope Leo XIV's family has roots in Louisiana that date back hundreds of years.
The Holy Father's ancestors are identified as either black or mulatto.
Records show his maternal grandparents were married at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart near Claiborne and Annette Street. This is the site today. The church was reportedly destroyed by a hurricane in the early 1900s. Census data shows that in 1900, the family was living here in the 7th Ward.
Like so many sites, it was taken to build the Claiborne overpass.
By 1912, they relocated to Chicago, where his mother was born. The now Pope grew up on Chicago's South Side.
And something that I read, probably like everyone around the world, is that the Holy Father was open to a vocation because as a child, all of the neighborhood priests were in and out of his home because they enjoyed his mother's cooking. And now we know why they enjoyed his mother's cooking, because his mother was from New Orleans family.
On Thursday, Archbishop of New Orleans Gregory Amond said he was unaware of the Creole ancestry.
It's great that he is American. He will certainly understand our culture and some of the issues in the United States.
Honore plans to look deeper into the Pope's family ties.
In a city like New Orleans, where so many of us are Roman Catholic or are alumni of our Catholic grammar or high schools, it's just really, really exciting to know that the Pope is a homeboy per se, that he has deep New Orleans roots.
Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
In your breakdown, Cardinal Robert Prevost will now be known as Pope Leo XIV. But how do popes choose their names? There's no written rule for it, but if a pope changes their name, it usually has meaning for their goals or passion as pope. Archbishop Gregory Amond believes Pope Leo XIV was likely inspired by Pope Leo XIII, who served until he died in 1903. He was known as a progressive and was known as an advocate for the poor.
And so we can assume that he will be attentive and sensitive to what's happening in the modern world. And that is to say that we don't just go into modernism, but that if we're going to go into modern issues, that we have to know history, and we have to be able to put those two together.
For Pope Francis, the inspiration was St. Francis of Assisi. The most common names used by popes have been John, Benedict, and Gregory. Leo has now been chosen 14 times. According to CBS News, for centuries, popes chose the name of the pope who had elevated them to cardinal. And out of 266 popes before Pope Leo XIV, 129 chose new names. And we will have continuing coverage of the election of Pope Leo. Look for more on the WWL Louisiana Morning News. You can stream our newscast live and on demand on WWL Plus. Just download that app on your smart TV and watch for free.
Well, thanks to an exclusive David Hammer investigation, a trial date has now been set in a cold case murder from 2022 rather. Cass Shelton is now scheduled to go on trial September 15 for the murder of her boyfriend, Nicholas Harrison. Shelton claimed Harrison shot himself, citing a lack of evidence. The DA refused charges. But then we showed interrogation video and ballistics evidence that led forensic experts to believe Harrison was shot while lying in bed. And after David questioned DA Jason Williams, Shelton was charged with murder. And New Aten, a suspect in Tangipahoa Parish, is in the hospital tonight after they were shot by a deputy. This happened in Independence just after 8 o'clock tonight. We're working to learn more about what led up to that shooting. We're told no officers were hurt, and state police are now taking over the investigation.
A ceremony was held today to honor the heroes who responded to the Bourbon Street terror attack. The New Orleans Police Department held the event at Gallier Hall, not only to pay tribute to their officers, but to everyone who showed up to save lives on January 1st. Among those were the 3 officers who were able to put an end to the attack by taking the man responsible down.
You know, we just had to do, unfortunately, a deed that had to be done out there to ensure the safety of the individuals of the city.
You know, it's been a long 5 months, and the primary thing is that the best thing about being here today is being alongside my coworkers who were there that day, who helped bring that situation under control.
Like I say, we're just out there doing our jobs. I appreciate all the support, friends, family, the department. In my opinion, we were just out there doing what we had to do.
Speakers at the event included Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, as well as area pastors and Saints owner Gail Benson.
The results are in after a recount was held in a historically close election. The latest on the millage to fund the Orleans Parish Jail.
60 years of wear and tear.
We found significant structural issues within the substructure.
Now drivers from Gerttown to downtown want to know when a deteriorating ramp will be safe to reopen.
Rain returns as we head into our Friday, and spotty showers continue through the weekend.
Two local schools are in the NAIA baseball tournament, and Ricardo will visit both Loyola and Cerna.
A historically close election has won again. A recount was held today after a millage to fund the Orleans Parish Jail passed by just 2 votes. Elections commissioners combed through all of those ballots this afternoon, and they found that 2 no votes had been double counted. So this means actually it won by 4. The millage, which dates to 2014, was set to expire at the end of this year.
A New Orleans ramp in danger of collapse. Now the stretch of Earhart Boulevard has been shut down for about 6 months.
Yeah, but the city says there are some plans to fix it and hopefully get it reopened by the end of the year. Rachel Hanley shows us how the problem began.
Yeah, this is the ramp we're talking about. It connects a pretty well-traveled stretch of Earhart Boulevard to Broad Street. What we now know is that it will not be reopening anytime soon. The culprit is this rust.
It was just a wear and tear, and it had reached a point where it needed to be taken out of service for public safety.
Now the ramp that brings drivers from Gerttown to downtown is blocked off. Scott Boyle is the district engineer for the state DOTD's New Orleans office. 6 months ago, the DOTD inspected this ramp.
We found significant structural issues within the substructure.
The ramp failed the inspection. The issue is these steel beams that are called girders. They support the weight of a bridge and everything on it. The girders on this ramp were rusted to the point of being unsafe.
This ramp is over 60 years old, so it's certainly seen its fair share of weather and heat and different type of situations such as that.
Ramps and bridges around that age are common in our area. An almost identical one brings drivers from Broad to Earhart. It's still open. Boyle says there are a lot of things that could cause one structure to deteriorate faster than another.
It could be, especially in the case of corrosion, it could be drainage issues. It could be that the protective paint system failed.
And he says the 2 ramps were likely inspected at the same time, which should bring drivers some comfort.
We would not keep a bridge open that had any reasonably known effects that could cause harm or danger to the motoring public.
In a statement Wednesday, the city said the Department of Public Works is looking for an engineering firm. It'll make a plan to repair the Earhart to Broad ramp. The city says those repairs should be done by the end of the year. And after that, the ramp will be able to reopen. In Gerttown, Rachel Handley, WWL Louisiana.
Medical reporter Meg Ferris is back with a new episode of her show Message Meg with an incredible recovery when an ordinary afternoon turned into a medical emergency. 5-year-old Lucy's nose was ripped off by a family dog. Surgeons were able to reattach it, but at first it didn't take.
I would have never considered this form of therapy had this incident not happened to me.
That's when hyperbaric oxygen, not in the standard playbook, brought the little girl's tissue back to life. You can see the incredible recovery that no one thought was possible. You can watch Message Meg streaming only on WWL Plus. Just download that app on your TV and watch for free.
Also tomorrow, you'll be able to grab a coffee with our WWL Louisiana Morning News team. We are hosting another Coffee Crew event, this time on the West Bank. Brandon, Brianna, Peyton, and Leah, they're all going to be there, so stop on by the PJs on Manhattan Boulevard in Harvey. That is from 10 a.m. until 1 tomorrow. So you'll be treated for a free hot or iced coffee, and we'll even provide you with this little cutie here, a WWL Louisiana mug.
Yeah, so cute.
This is really cute. I don't even have these, so you can.
No,
we
don't.
Exclusive.
We don't get those. There's even a note in here that says we can't keep it, but they're so cool.
See, I'm wondering if the evening team, we get like a sponsored old-fashioned glass.
See, I'm
and
really
we do,
getting ahead of yourself.
And we do cocktails late at night.
I was thinking a wine glass.
Wine glass, martini glass, shot glass, any one of those would do.
WWL kind of red wine glass.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That's great. Yeah, why don't we have these events?
We could drink all those things out of it.
Meet everybody out at 10:45 after the news. It'll be great.
Perfect.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
Perfect. I like it.
Oh,
yeah, we're thinking.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are looking at more rain. rainfall back on the way tomorrow. Today was gorgeous. All of the rain stayed well offshore. Had a few thunderstorms right near the coastline, but generally speaking, everything stayed offshore. However, we're looking even farther offshore for our next weather maker. It is a system that is starting to take shape. Notice how these showers kind of weakening as they push further into the Gulf, but more activity in South Texas will be heading our way. Already have had the cloud cover increasing kind of steadily through the evening and mostly cloudy through the overnight period. So our model actually did a pretty good job with indicating these showers would weaken. Now, a few stray showers are possible during the early, maybe pre-dawn hours, but more so during the midday and afternoon. So morning drive looks okay, maybe a couple of showers, but not much. More so probably after the lunch hour and going maybe toward the evening drive home. Kids coming home from school maybe have the rain gear handy, and certainly by 5, 6 o'clock. Now, this is all going to be key to where this low develops, where the heaviest of the rainfall may form. Now, this low has been projected to stay a little bit more to our east, which would keep some of the heavier rainfall totals there. If it does move more over southeast Louisiana, we could see some higher totals here. Most of the rain will be Friday, but we're going to be watching where this little surface low goes into the weekend, because this model, this is our IBM model, does kind of bring the low back toward the west, which would keep maybe some more instability over us. And this model does paint in a better chance for some rain even on Sunday. So we'll keep the mention of at least some spotty showers in for the weekend, but not as much as what we're expecting tomorrow. And even tomorrow's rain threat is not a flooding risk, not much of a severe risk. And in fact, looking at our rain totals through Sunday, we're calling for maybe an inch to perhaps 2 inches or more. I think relatively a good number would be 1 to 2 inches. Our HER model not going quite as high, but some patchy areas could see some isolated flooding. So our flooding threat really for tomorrow is going to be more the isolated street flooding. It's not going to be a widespread issue. And it looks like that may still be an issue for Saturday, although a little bit more of a focus off to the east. And as far as severe weather goes, slim to none. Really the only part of our region that is included is northern Washington and Tangipahoa Parish. Otherwise, the greater threat is a little bit more east of us. And even again, that is not a great threat. So this is all in conjunction with an upper pattern that has been bringing these disturbances around the upper lows. We had one yesterday morning, got quiet today, and then another one is on the way. These upper features will keep us on the wetter side through Friday and even into the weekend. While we're not per se on the wet side of this low, especially if it settles right over us, it would likely keep us under relatively cloudy skies with some spotty showers, but also a pattern that looks to be favoring bringing in some slightly less humid air late Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Then a change in the pattern. We're no longer dealing with upper lows. We're dealing with an upper ridge, and it looks to be a fairly strong upper ridge, which could bring in our first 90 of the year. That 90, I'm thinking maybe next Thursday, May 15th. That would be about on average where we normally see our first 90 at MSY. We'll see. It's definitely going to be warming up as we go later into the week. Mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 70s. Humidity is a little bit higher with a dew point in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Temperatures across the board generally in the low 70s. We'll see us probably stay in the 70s during the day tomorrow because of the clouds and rainfall. Always a silver lining. Again, we'll keep a rain chance of about 30% for Saturday, 20% for Sunday, but we'll see if those models continue with the placement of that surface low, which could perhaps increase our rain chances a bit for the weekend. Otherwise, I don't think rain right now looks to be much of an issue. A little bit drier as we head into Monday, then we start heating up with maybe our first 90 of the year next Thursday.
Saturday, rookie minicamp kicks off a summer of work. No cameras allowed at the first 2 days of rookie minicamp. So the team did practice today, but we can't tell you about anything about what happened because it was closed to the media. The Saints did post some pictures today of the rookie arrival, second-round quarterback Tyler Shuck wearing the Manning Passing Academy shirt. 41 players total are taking part in rookie minicamp. That's 9 draft picks, 11 undrafted rookie free agents, 5 current Saints, that's practice squad guys, and 16 tryout players. Day 2 of rookie minicamp is tomorrow, and cameras are not allowed again. The NAIA baseball tournament starts Monday, and 2 local schools are in the tournament with a chance to play for a national championship. That's Loyola and Suno. The Knights were surprises in their conference tournament, the Wolfpack having one of their best seasons ever. Ricardo LeCompte visited both schools today.
The Wolfpack continues to trek through uncharted territory. Loyola captured its first conference tournament title in the Southern States Athletic Conference and its second ever baseball tourney title, the first in 23 years.
It was just all in all a great experience. I never had a doubt of any of the guys on the field and the dugout that we were going to get the job done. So just to have that experience and to bring the first one to Loyola is awesome.
1, 2, 3. The championship win also gave the Wolfpack win number 38 on the year, setting a new program mark for victories in a season.
We've been consistently either tying or one-upping the school record for wins the last few years, and so we're moving in the right direction, and the program's continuing to build. So now we're ready to go see if we can take the next step and get the program to the World Series for the first time.
Be a good story to tell my kids, tell the coworkers, like, hey man, like, you know, we made it here, we did it, like we were able to bring something to Loyola, and that's all it is, just leaving a legacy here.
Loyola returns to the NAIA National Tournament for the second straight year and for the fourth time in the last 5 years. The Wolfpack will travel to Waleska, Georgia to begin opening round play next Monday. And on that same day, Suno makes its NAIA National Tourney debut in Shreveport. The Knights taking part in the Field of 46 after resurrecting the baseball program last season after a decades-long hiatus.
I was one of the guys that came here when it first started last fall. I saw the ugly, and we get it pretty now, so, you know, it's so much pride being taken right now for the whole program.
Suno also setting a record for wins in a season with 24.
You know, we were playing every inning hard, playing every pitch hard. We didn't take any pitches off. And, you know, that's what we had just had to continue to do every single game.
You know, we've had some good games, some bad games. The expectations is always high, but, you know, the kids have responded well and they've learned how to play together. We did what we need to do to get there.
2 New Orleans programs searching for more unprecedented accomplishments on the diamond. Reporting in Westwego and Gentilly. Ricardo Lecomte, WWL Louisiana.
Hey, good stuff, Ricardo, and we wish both of those teams luck in that tournament. We're back with more in a minute.
It didn't take long after the Chicago native was elected as the new pope for a debate to begin across the Windy City. Is Pope Leo a Cubs or a White Sox fan?
Ooh, is the controversial issue. First, the Cubs wrote on their iconic Wrigley Field sign saying the pontiff roots for them.
Yeah.
But then his older brother called foul, saying they had been proud White Sox fans since they were altar boys.
Well, after the Sox posted to social media saying a jersey with Pope Leo's name on it is already on the way to the Vatican, that he's welcome to at the ballpark anytime. Really, he's welcome at any ballpark across the country.
But the problem is the White Sox are so bad.
Not now.
They're one of the worst teams.
Not anymore.
Well, let's see. Because right now they're one of the worst teams in American sports, period.
Continue with us on WWL Plus. Download on your TV.